So one of the questions I always usually get asked is, what's one of your favorite stories about fear, or tell me about a story about fear or how I overcame fear. And to me, I think it's interesting because before I tell a story about fear, I feel like I should tell you how I look at fear and what I think fear is, whether it's true or not. I believe fear is actually just an illusion. Fear isn't actually real. Fear is something that our brains come up with. So essentially, people think fear is real. I think fear is a thought. And thoughts aren't real. Thoughts are things we can control. So do I say that people aren't fearful? Yeah, we can be fearful. We can have fear, but it's actually not real. It's an illusion. So you got to ask the question, well, where does fear actually come from? And for me, I look at it, and fear usually comes from a place of either lack of knowledge, lack of results, lack of know-how, lack of support, lack of confidence. It usually comes from a place of scarcity, of lack of. So when we don't know where we're going, so lack of knowledge of where we want to go, lack of what we're going to do with the next step, all of this stuff creates this thing we call fear. And for me, my greatest triumph, I would say, is when I came to the realization in my life that I had to actually give up everything I knew myself to be. In other words, I had to die of the version of the guy that I was, of the man that I was, of the man that my parents wanted me to be, society created me to be, and finally become the man I knew myself to be. Become the man, the sales rep, the person that I knew I needed to be. And that was one of the hardest things I could ever imagine, because not only is that an internal, that's an external to the next level. Well, what does that mean? Well, when I made that decision, so I'm sitting on the edge and I have to make the decision, do I want to live this life that's kind of a fake life? Like, it's not what I want to do. I don't want to work corporate. I don't want to try to climb up the corporate ladder and go home on Sundays every Sunday with my family. This idea of whatever society put in my head. I want to live my own life. I want to live on my own terms. I want to live with my freedom. I wanted to see my family on a Monday, on a Friday, not just Sundays for a Sunday night dinner. And then I also knew what was hard was when I made that transition, all my friends, all the things that I was so used to were going to disappear. Well, why? Well, because I'm going to start operating different. I'm going to start thinking different. I'm going to start doing things different. And just from that alone is going to separate from what once was to what's going to be. And for me, that was the hardest decision I had to make, because that wasn't just a decision I had to make in a moment. That was a decision I had to continue to make. And the fear I had to face continuously until I got over that hump. And even today, I still sometimes, face that fear, because it's so easy to get lost in this world that we live in. I mean, you see it everywhere. It's like there's so much knowledge. There's so many things people are doing. There's all these things we see, and we ask ourselves, like, what is it we want to be? What is it we want to represent? And my biggest thing is knowing every day, having the mission and the purpose of knowing what I represent. And it's not because of what I think society wants from me, or what my parents want from me, or what my friends think they want from me, or even what my spouse wants from me. It's what I want from me. I need to be the best version of myself so I can give the world the best version of what they deserve.